Good evening, everybody, gosh, great weather we're having. Welcome also who's in our audience and everybody tonight to the Public Safety Commission meeting tonight. And, well, I'd like to first welcome one of our new members here, Martin, and our other commissioner's not here. It's a Mitchell and Mitchell, so it's easier to say Mr. Commissioner Mitchell, welcome. On behalf, and can we get a call to order, please?
We are in order.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Trejo. Commissioner M. Mitchell.
Present.
Commissioner K. Mitchell.
Here.
Vice Chair Lozano.
Here.
Chair Muse.
I'm here. All right, it's time I'd like to ask, who would like to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Martin.
Perfect. Oh, let's Commissioner Mitchell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, well, our next subject will be to approve the agenda, but for last month when I wasn't here, and
The minutes, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't get it.
So don't have it. So Daniel,
We just need a motion and a second to approve the agenda, if so.
all right. Well, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Motion.
Motion. Motion, Basil, right? Make a motion. Yep,
Should be
call
on
for
your
vote.
screen.
Should, there we go. That's what we need.
So who had made the motion, then the second, and then the votes come up.
Yep, there we go.
I second. Right? Oh, I see. There you go.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. That's good news. All right, at this time, I'd like to open for public comments. Do we have any cards? Anybody want to speak at this time?
We have none, sir.
All right, well, we'll move it real quick. At this time, we're going to go right into the animal control monthly report, so I'll turn it over to you guys.
Good evening. So for February, we had 50 intakes, 20 animals returned to owner, 12 sent to rescue, 10 adoptions. We had 1 bite case that was sent to the Coachella Valley Animal Campus, 12 taken to the vet, 8 DOAs, 1 euthanized, 45 licenses issued, 51 citations issued, 46 warning citations issued, and then 178 calls for service. And there were 26 city residents that participated in the Animal Action League in February for spay and neuters. Any questions for me, please?
Commissioner Mitchell?
I have none.
I just want to know how you can handle 178 calls. Is someone there all the time, or?
Well, you mean to take the calls? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just nonstop. They're calling into the dispatcher right now. So, I mean, today was a perfect example. We had 3 calls pending at any given time. I mean, it's just like the police department. It's just,
Wow.
as soon as you clear it, you go to the next one.
Well, you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have one question, a nomenclature question.
Yes,
The
sir.
difference between an administrative citation and a warning citation.
Yeah.
Well, an admin site has a fine associated with it. A warning site generally is issued if we can't contact someone. Maybe we're posting it on their door, giving them information about the violations of ordinances that they are in violation of. But because we don't have information on the individual to give them an actual citation, i.e. a driver's license, name, those kinds of things. That's the reason that there's a difference between the two.
Okay, is there a fee schedule associated with the administrative sites?
Yes,
There is.
yes.
And is that privy to the public? Is that published?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the citations themselves, For an example, if we find a dog and we find the owner and they don't have it microchipped, it's not rabies vaccinated, and it's not licensed, that's a $300 fine, $100 for each issue. If for a dog at large, it's a $100 fine. If we have to put a dog in a bite quarantine, it's a $70 fee to put a dog in a bite quarantine at the home. Those are primarily the 5 major ones that we deal with. And then they exponentially go up from that point. If they're repeat offenders, i.e. the second time around, it's going to be $200 for each of those, initial, not microchipped, not rabies vaccinated, not licensed. And then from there, the third violation is $500 for each of those. So it goes up very quickly.
Okay, I'm just hoping that information is made public, like on a website or on City Hall or something, printed or something like that.
I'd have to double check to see if it's actually on the city website. I mean, I know the fee schedule for all the licensing and all those types of things are on our website.
Okay.
I'll double check on the admins, for the penalties.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was going to ask about a fee schedule, but it's on your website.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the percentage of the fees that you do receive? I know you can give them a citation, but what are they paying or not paying?
I'd have to get a report back because it goes out to a third party, and they actually do the legwork for us to, search them out. From my understanding, after 3 tries, what ends up happening is if we have enough information on that individual, it'll get attached to their income taxes. So when they file
Really?
their state income tax, it will come off of there before they get any kind of refund.
That's very interesting, yeah. Thank you. I'm done.
Staffing, how are we doing on staffing with our animal control? With 178 calls, that's a lot.
Well, currently we have myself, Officer Pena, who's in training. He should hopefully be done in training next month, and Sergeant Zamora. So we're still trying to get a 4th animal control officer on board.
So
That's
we have
gonna-
currently open still for more animal control
One.
officers?
One position,
Okay, full-time or part-time?
full-time.
Okay, well, thank you. That's all I had.
Good.
Any more questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, move on to code and compliance. Christina?
Good evening, Commission. So in the month of February, we had a total of 137 service requests, 272 inspections, 114 courtesy notice of violations issued, 38 citations issued totaling $46,800. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I always like to comment on the befores and after. You guys do a really great job.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know, I haven't seen any of these befores. I must be going down the wrong streets, or the right streets. But anyway, again, I know I've asked this question before, or someone did, is how do you get all your money as well? That's a lot of money, 46,000.
So our department is a little bit different than animal control in that we, anytime that we have cost associated with code enforcement action, we file a notice of pendency against the property. Because our violations are associated to a property, we are able to do that. And so what happens is that notice of pendency is recorded with the county, which clouds the title. And anytime that property owner wants to sell or refinance, they have to reconcile that cost with our department before we will release it and give them a clean title. So it's honestly one of the most major functions of what we do in our department that nobody knows about. But that's how we recover our cost throughout the year. And then at the end of the fiscal year, anything that is outstanding, we assess to property taxes. So it can be anything from abatement to attorney's costs to outstanding citations.
Wow, thank you. That's, well, good, we're gonna get our money some way. Thank you.
If there's an abandoned car and the individual does not know if it's on county land or Desert Hot Springs land, can they call you and find
Oh,
out? Because a
absolutely.
friend mentioned to me, and I've noticed it too, that there's abandoned car that's been on Lil Morongo going north past Mission Lakes.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
a
And
while,
even if
right?
it is in the county area,
Okay.
we can either forward the complaint to the county on your behalf, or we can give you their contact information.
Okay, because I told him I wasn't sure if that was, because it's on the side of Mission Lakes Country Club, on Little Morongo, so I wasn't sure if that's city or county.
So parts of Mission Lakes are county, but mostly within the actual Mission Lakes Country Club. Everything along Little Morongo, south of Mission Lakes is us. Everything north, on the west side, I believe, is us.
Okay, thank you.
I was wondering if you had an update on the actions that we're taking. We have the abandoned buildings in town, and I've brought it up before. There's one's in the 11,000 block of Palm. It's on the corner there. There's another one up adjacent to the Tuscan Springs property, up in that area. And of course, the one that I've got real concern about is the abandoned Sahara Hotel. If you had any information on how that litigation's proceeding.
Sure. So to give you kind of an update throughout the city on our vacant properties, we have recently passed an ordinance that requires all properties, not just residential properties, to register as vacant. They also have to comply with boarding standards. They also have to post signage that gives contact information in emergencies. So our efforts this year have really been focused on vacant properties, and so we have successfully secured a few warrants to demolish some of those properties. There is a vacant property at the corner of Cactus and West that we just recently received a warrant for. There is a vacant hotel that's fire damaged at the top of Club Circle, just got a warrant for that. We just received a warrant for it is the northeastmost property of that Sahara. We will be demolishing that probably in the next week. So a lot of these properties that have been vacant long-term, we're kind of at the end of the road, and we are successfully now obtaining warrants and knocking those buildings down.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, great job, great job you guys are doing. I can't imagine, because I mean, driving around the city, volunteering, with the police department, I mean, we see a lot of stuff, and I just don't know where you get the manpower to do it, Christina, and, I appreciate everything you're doing. With regards of everything else, looking at the numbers here, how are we doing on our Airbnb as far as code compliance, since we've hired the one or two gentlemen to go out first calls and everything like that? How is that working out for the city?
So I'd say
Complaints
right
and stuff
now,
like that?
yeah, we probably average maybe 2 complaints a weekend. It's relatively quiet. Those complaints are typically related to like trash cans being left out, parking issues, very little with respect to noise, which we thought would be the leading cause of all complaints. I also think it's made a difference now that people know that we do have enforcement. So whereas we were having those parties before, we were having noise complaints, it is, I almost feel bad for these guys because they're out there kind of just driving around aimlessly.
They are.
Yeah, so it's pretty controlled at the moment. Don't have a whole lot of activity. We also started the interior inspections of vacation rentals, which is going great. Because now we kind of have, some inside knowledge of, are they operating safely? Is their occupancy appropriately posted? Do they have, fire extinguishers where they need them? Are their pools safe? So these things that we never really had the insight on before, we do now. And so people also get the understanding that, hey, we are enforcing. We're going to come out to the property. We're going to ensure that you have landscape, that your trash cans are put away, that, all of these things, whereas before we didn't. So I think collectively, all of those components have made a big difference.
I think what was approved by the city council has done a tremendously job, especially on, as a resident who lives in, I think we have 12 just in my neighborhood. I mean, the music and the complaints, it's really went down. And I'm glad you mentioned about the inside inspections, because I happened to be over to one of my friends who has an Airbnb, and one of the inspectors were there, and I couldn't believe, just as a local realtor broker, things he was like, no, you can't have this, you gotta have this. It's really strict.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I think that's amazing. You know, the rules that were implemented because two fire extinguishers and they basically they were telling them, it's like, look, if we have to come back, you're looking at a $1,200 fine for this and this. I'm like, wow. So
Yeah,
You
so
know,
it's
I'm
it's
glad
not
the city
enough
was able to do
anymore for
something.
them just to get the permit and, set up shop. We're really concerned about, the safety of the patrons that are coming out to the city to utilize these vacation homes. That's of the utmost importance. And then, obviously, the concern that all the residents had with respect to noise and everything, I think the presence of these officers alone out there has made a huge impact.
So when somebody goes, applies for a permit, they will now do a home inspection before they can get permitted?
Correct.
Or after it's permitted, you visit the home?
So it is a pre-inspection for new applicants, and then we do an annual
Fantastic.
inspection for renewals.
Thank you so much, that's all I have.
Absolutely.
I just have one question. All of these Airbnbs, do you know one when you're driving past? Like, do they have a little flag on it or anything like this?
No, so the city council did not want to advertise
Oh.
vacation homes in that way, just for safety concerns.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
You guys are good? All right, thank you so much, Christina. We'll go into our favorite part, fire department monthly report.
I like the way that sounds. Well, good evening, Commissioners. I got quite a lot of things to talk about tonight, so what I'd like to do is just briefly go through the February 23 report. Not much really stands out. Everything's kind of trending in the same direction. If you look in the significant incident reports on page 2, the second one was a pretty significant incident in that there was multiple types of emergencies all kind of happening at the same time. So you had a vehicle drive into a residence. It caused a gas leak inside the residence with a victim trapped underneath the vehicle. So just wanted to shout out to the firefighters, did an excellent job, got that person extricated. Our utility companies came out in a hurry and got that gas shut off, and everything worked out well. The citizen was transported and was rendered care, I think is recovering. Does anybody have any questions about the February report? For Commissioner Kenneth Mitchell, the figures that you see on this page are only for Engine 37, and Engine 36 ran 168 emergencies in February, and I am working with the GIS IT department to get those reports merged. I don't know how long it's going to take, but at some point I'll have something more robust for you.
Okay, well, we appreciate that. If nobody else has any questions to proceed. One report, you have truck 86. Where is that unit located?
Indio.
Indio. Okay, so we had a truck come all the way out from Indio. Was that
So
for
they-
the aforementioned incident you were discussing?
Let's see, that was on the first. I actually think that was probably for the hotel fire on the Sahara complex.
Okay.
Multiple stories. I think it went second alarm right out the gate, and so it required a response. I think that second alarm got canceled before it got on scene, and that includes truck 86. It didn't actually make it here.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to hold on my further questions until my fellow commissioners have an opportunity to ask theirs, so.
We're good over here. It's all you.
Okay.
You're the fire expert.
I'll go back. When you discuss a second alarm, now, we did it a little bit differently in Northern California, how we allocated the task forces and things. You'd get 3 engines in a truck. If you had a certain occupancy, you might get 4 engines and 2 trucks per alarm. And how are your resources allocated when you dispatch to a greater alarm incident? What does each task force consist of?
So we do it in the classic sense. So you're going to get 5 pieces of equipment on the second alarm, depending on what location you're in. So as an example, if you're in the mountain battalion that doesn't have any trucks, you're going to get 5 engines. But if you're in a city that has a truck, you're going to get 4 engines and a truck and a BC.
Okay. And that includes your RIC functions as well, and everyone's assigned on scene and out team and so forth?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Is a transport ambulance a component of that? Do you request for a transport ambulance on scene when you go to at least a greater alarm, maybe not the first alarm?
It depends on the situation. It's not an automatic, but usually the battalion chief, once they get on scene, if one hasn't been ordered, they'll order one.
Okay, all right.
Especially, part of our difficulties is in the heat of the summer, right? So one of the things we always do is we have our breathing support come out, and that has a lot of our rehab stuff in there. We have cooling fans and all that stuff, and then on top of that, generally speaking, what we'll do is we have a contract with I shouldn't say contract. We have an agreement with Sunline Transportation, and they'll bring a bus out for us so that we can get guys into the Sun bus and use that AC. We're working on a long-term plan for a full rehab vehicle. We're just not there yet.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And I did have one other question, not related directly to the report that's sitting in front of me. Landing zones. Are there any pre-selected landing zones in Desert Hot Springs if we would ever have to lift a bird for trauma transport or anything of that nature?
We do have some sites that we frequently use. I don't know if they're necessarily designated. We have several helicopters that service our area, and so ultimately the pilot decides what they're comfortable with and what they're not, and each helicopter has a different configuration and needs a certain amount of headwind and all of those things. So we do have some sites that we use quite a bit, but for the most part, with the trauma center being as close as it is, we almost never use helicopters in this area.
Right. I did have a concern about when Gene Autry and Indian Canyon are shut down. If someone were to have a medical emergency, how they would access, especially somebody that's, critically ill or critically injured. It might be difficult to lift a bird in those types of windy conditions, but that's just something in my observation that I have a concern about, because our closest trauma center, I don't know if they're level 1, level 2, whatever, but they're blocked off when those two roads are shut down. So that's going to be something I pay close attention to in the future. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, am I understanding that there is no designated helicopter landing in Desert Hot Springs?
I mean, I think that the word designated is probably not the right word. We have sites that we use, we know of, the helicopters have previously used. There's not really it's not designated on an aeronautical chart. None of them are. It's
In
just
Desert Hot Springs?
anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not on a chart anywhere. A pilot wouldn't, coming from Alaska, wouldn't know that the fire department uses, the high school airfield during, a wind event or something like that. So what they do is when they come into the area, we have common communications with them and we tell them where we want them to land, and they look at it and go, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work, but I see a spot right next to it that'll work for us. So it doesn't delay. There's no delay. They ultimately make the decision whether or not they're going to land at a location.
because I vaguely remember about 50 years ago that they voted on somewhere for a helicopter landing, because at that time, if both Indian and Palm were closed, you were staying home,
I mean,
which we loved, but
we basically need 75 feet by 75 feet, generally
Oh.
speaking, to land a helicopter, so we just shut down a road and land them
okay, so that's good. Okay,
with our
that's great.
law enforcement partners here.
Oh, good, thank you.
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, so on top of that, just a brief update on the light truck Quint that we ordered for Fire Station 98. Originally, it was destined to land back in Riverside County in December of this year. The last update is that it's going to be pushed back to March now, and should get here in March, and then we probably will be training with it for a good 3 months to get all the truck companies throughout the county trained on it. It'll be the first of its kind for our department, so there's going to be a lot of training involved in that. But it's still on pace to be available for when Fire Station 98 opens.
Oh, it's 498, right? That's where it's going to be housed.
That was the idea. There has been conversations about possibly putting it at a different location, and we're investigating all of those options.
Pursuant to that, do we have an update on the progress of the construction of the public safety campus with regards to the fire end of it? Because I know we were waiting to get the squad online. It's kind of cramped over there to get an extra 2 folks and an extra rig out of there. But we were concerned about how soon that was going to go in service. Do we have any further information on that?
So the new medic squad, even though it was ordered some time ago, the vendor still hasn't found a chassis for it. So it's still in the development phase. When the city council is ready, to take on that decision, if the medic squad hasn't been delivered yet, the county has some others available that we can use until the new one is completed. The city council is in budget session, kind of this month and next month to talk about the next 2 fiscal years, and those are all things being discussed.
All right, very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then lastly, Dan, you want to cue up the presentation? Okay, so this is a architectural rendering of the new fire station. Yeah, I think it takes about 3 or 4 minutes, so we'll just go through that, and if there's questions, we can.
People in it.
Yeah, right. None of them in uniform. I'd have to yell at those guys.
Yeah. And where is it? The location?
This is on Hacienda,
Oh, right.
the east end of town.
It's pretty.
No, that'll be wow. Very nice. Or towards that Long Canyon there, that way.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be really nice.
When does that start?
It's in the planning phases right now, so it's the architectural plans are with the city being reviewed.
Very nice. Oh,
So this is designed to accommodate a crew large enough to staff the Quint.
Yes, sir.
So it would be for quarters for a platoon of 4 firefighters at a time, an officer and 3 firefighters.
It will provide for more than that, but that's what it will initiate at.
Okay, great.
Oh,
Everything will be up to stuff with ADA and, ADA compliant.
Yes, sir. Be 100% up to California code.
Awesome.
that's really nice. I hope I live long enough to see it.
In the event that the Quint is delivered before the station is complete, do we have other locales where we could store the apparatus until we can actually put it here in the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How long is planning?
It depends on if there's corrections to be made from what planning finds from the architects.
Do you anticipate this will be a must-cover station when it goes in service, or are we still going to use that designation for Station 37? It's probably too early to ask that question. We gotta-
No, well, we don't necessarily have any must-cover stations anymore. What we have is a tiered covered approach. So recently we changed our cover plan to not necessarily be you must cover a location as much as it's ranked in the battalion chief and division chief's mind of, this is the most important station to cover, this is the second most, and then depending on what resources are being deployed, the command center makes those determinations through CAT.
Okay, good, good.
Wow. That really looks great.
Now, that brings up an interesting point. Is there an idea in the future, perhaps a partnership with our county ambulance provider to actually staff an ambulance there? As we did, that was commonplace where I used to work. We would have well, it wasn't AMR back then. Goodness gracious, what was it? Mobile life support, I think is what it was. And we had an actual MLS unit in our firehouse. And that was where one of their posts, which they appreciated a place to take their boots off and, have a quarters that they can, instead of remaining in their ambulance. Is that anticipated at all?
Well, they have a headquarters station here right across the street.
Right.
That you see them out there all the time. So I don't, there's nothing in the works for that
Okay.
moving forward.
Okay.
So I can see that the response time will add more time to.
Decrease
You think
response time.
decrease?
Mhm.
Huh.
Any questions about the fire station video?
No, it's beautiful.
All right, Dan, if we can cue up the second part of the presentation. Oh, not that one. I'm sorry. The Adobe PowerPoint.
I apologize, sir, I do not have that here.
Standby technical difficulties. It was attached to my first email to you, but I'll forward it to you right now.
Sir, I do not have my email on this computer. I do
Oh.
apologize.
So where do you need me to send it to?
I can't access it from anything over here.
Oh.
Sorry. Perhaps if you had it on a flash drive.
I don't. I just have it on my phone. Could we take maybe a 5-minute break and let me get this worked out?
Sure.
I can run out and get my computer out on my truck.
Perfect,
And
we'll take 5.
okay. I apologize. Okay, so what we have presentation-wise is what I thought I'd do is just kind of review the relationship between CAL FIRE, Riverside County Fire Department, the city, kind of walk through the different things that the contract provides, and then at the end, kind of talk about the city's fire department and what that looks like now and what it'll look like in the future. So we're just going to briefly look at the benefits of contracting and demonstrate what our fire department capabilities are. So the benefits to contracting with the Riverside County Fire Department is fire and EMS services are provided to Desert Hot Springs through the contract with the County of Riverside. Riverside County contracts with CAL FIRE for the personnel services. The city currently has 2 fire stations, and the staffing, engines, supplemental services, equipment are all provided through the cooperative agreement. More technical difficulties. Okay, so, some of the benefits are that being part of the fire department, we have 96 fire stations, and that's probably going to go up to 100 in the next couple of years. It's the 3rd largest fire department in California, and so when you're a member of that, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. That's an all-risk fire department that's integrated, regional, cooperative fire protection system. During emergencies, fire engines will be moved up to maintain operational capabilities in the city where the fire engine is committed to another incident. So, as an example, during that fire last month at the vacant hotel, that was going to be 2 alarms. So you have two fire engines in the city. What was coming was 10 fire engines, a truck, and 2 battalion chiefs, a breathing support, support from the public information office, and then if there were any signs of arson or anything like that, our arson guys would come out. So being part of the cooperative agreement, that all comes with the contract. You wouldn't get charged a single penny for any of that. The ability to pay into an equipment fund where the contract is charged 1/20th of the cost for a new fire engine. And as you can see, the current cost of a fire engine is $770,000, but that's because we buy so many of them at one time. They're more closely about 1.1 million without the equipment. So what we do is, as a participant in the contract, we just assume that you're going to want a nice running fire engine, and we provide that for you, and you pay 1/20th of that every year, so that you always have a new fire engine, and you just got a new one. Well, we are doomed here, Dan. I don't know what's going on. Well, I apologize. I didn't know the technology was going to be difficult today. I'll finish up real quick and say that, Desert Hot Springs and County Fire Department, along with CAL FIRE, have been partners for a very long time. We both benefit from the relationship. Desert Hot Springs is a great city, and it's just getting greater by the year. The fire department is just so happy to be part of the community. Excuse me. And, as things progress, the way that it looks right now, it's definitely going to be changing in the next couple of years. So right now, you have 2 fire stations, Fire Station 37 and Fire Station 36. Fire Station 37 is the busiest fire engine company in all of Riverside County, and that is your fire station and your folks on there. We have a cost share agreement at Fire Station 36, and the way that looks is that the city owns the fire station, and the county, because it doesn't want to build a fire station right next door to it, participates in a cost share. So the city takes care of the building, and the county takes care of the personnel, and then the fire engine and all the costs for the equipment. So that's the way that looks. through the hard work of the commission and through the council and staff, we've recognized that, more resources and more staffing are needed to provide a better service to the public here in Desert Hot Springs. And so in the last fiscal go-around, the city council approved the purchase of a medic squad and the light truck Quint, and with the idea that when those were delivered and through the planning process, that they would be staffed. And so the first part of the staffing was already approved for the fiscal year that we're in now. And so we're working with staff to get, the staffing was for 3 additional firefighters, would be the first step to getting the staffing together for the medic squad. And then in the upcoming fiscal years, we would add the 3 additional personnel that would be required to staff the medic squad. And then that would help out tremendously with all the duplicate calls and all the response times. And as Fire Station 98 gets built out, once it's ready to go, the Quint would come online, and then the staffing from the medic squad would provide half of the staffing needed to staff the Quint. And so it's kind of a tiered approach. We're just taking a step at a time instead of trying to do it all out of whack. And some of our other contract partners, as an example, the city of Eastvale have done the same thing, where they put on a medic squad while they were building a fire station. And then once that fire station was built, the need for the medic squad isn't necessarily needed anymore, because now we have another fire engine or a truck with a full crew on there. So the end state, from my point of view, the recommendation that I would make is that, over the next couple of years, we're going to have to figure out a way to get those pieces of equipment staffed. So the medic squad would come online hopefully in, fiscal year 23, 24. And then hopefully the Quint and the station would be all ready to go for fiscal year 24, 25. But that's all stuff that we have to talk to the city council about and go through the budget process. But I'm hopeful that those talks will go well, and we should be able to make it happen. But that's kind of just the recommendation from the fire department standpoint. So without being able to complete my presentation to show you a little bit of everything, can I answer any questions?
I have none.
Yeah, we're eagerly awaiting some of these things to come to fruition. We understand and there's a process that has to be followed, and I hope that I'm privy enough to sit down with staff and find out, get some further direction from them, and see what we can provide to you so we can continue this partnership. From what I understand, the city's very pleased with the services that you've provided, and the city's, as the city grows, and the services grow, we think it's an agreement that should continue, at least in my opinion. So, thanks for that.
Commissioner Lozano?
I'm good. I just think, having been on the commission, I learned a lot about the fire department, and I think you guys it's just wonderful. I mean, I can only speak of my own experience. When I had a problem, the fire department was there in just moments. And then as soon as he said, "You're going to the hospital," an ambulance was right there. So.
We've got a great.
That's what we shoot for.
And it was great.
They are. I have nothing further, Barb, just you guys continue. We're moving, this city, as far as the fire department and what's going on, I think we're moving in the right direction. And, I'm thumbs up.
Very good. Thank you.
That's all I have. All right. We're going to move on to the police department monthly report with Deputy Shaw.
Good evening. So for the month of February, we responded to 2,982 calls for service. We had 86 arrests and 347 citations. Pretty consistent for other Februarys, minus being a short month, so but still very busy. For crime stats, just the significant numbers, our aggravated assaults went to 8 from 19 in January. Our burglaries went down to 6 from 23 in January, so pretty significant there. And our vehicle thefts, I think your sheet might say 10, but I found the next one on there, so it's 11 from 24 the previous month. So some nice drops in those numbers. For our budget, we're at about 75% of the fiscal budget. The police department is at 70%, and animal control is at 60%, so right about where we want to be. We did have, on February 22nd, our dispatch center did open up, so we are fully operational in the police department building with our dispatch center. All of our dispatch employees are working here now, and it's been great working with Cathedral City, but we have completely cut those ties and doing everything from our building. No major incidents. There's been just a couple of technical things that have gone on, but nothing that has prevented any problems or stopped the dispatch center or caused any delays in receiving calls and dispatching officers and stuff. So everything is moving along really great there. Another significant thing that happened in February is on February 21st and 22nd, Epic Recruiting came to the city. I think if you remember, I've talked about Epic Recruiting a few times. They're the recruiting company that the city has hired to help us recruiting police officers. So we've been doing a lot of behind the work scenes with them over the last several months. And on the 21st and 22nd of February, they came out. There was about 15, 16-hour days on both those days where they did all the filming for the social media campaign, the commercials that they're going to be putting on social media, photos for posters and flyers and advertisements and that type of thing. Everybody in the police department took part in it. Like I said, there were about 16-hour days. I know the first day the weather cooperated with us. The next day it was cold. We even got some snow flurries. We were out at about 9, 10 o'clock at night filming some last things, and the snow flurries came down, but it actually made for some pretty cool video and stuff like that. So when folks see this and they think Desert Hot Springs and they think only 120 degrees out and sand and desolate, they're going to see some pretty incredible scenery and stuff from around here and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing the end results of those. End of March is when we should get the first look at the website design that they're doing. And then they said probably sometime April, May, we'll start seeing the videos done and stuff. So we'll keep you posted on those, and I'll bring those to you once we get them. But we're excited to get that campaign rolling and stuff. So, but that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Did you say that the dispatchers are here now? We're no more Cathedral City?
They are all here working out of the building, yes.
So is all the remodeling or whatever all done with the police department and where the dispatchers?
So the dispatch center is completely done. We just finished up recently the records division, the front lobby area of the police department, the records division, the report writing room for the officers, and the watch commander's office. Those have all been completed. So now the next phase that'll happen is, I believe the city's shooting for the end of March to go out to bid for the next phase of construction, which will be the actual, the annex building next door, Fire Station 37, their tenant improvements, some tenant improvements on the current building, and the wall basically that will cover the entire public safety campus. So I believe the plan is they're trying to get that out by the end of March, out to bid. That's a 30-day process for the bid, and then finalize a bid and pick a contractor, and hopefully if things go well, by June or so to start breaking ground. The first part of that construction will be the wall that covers the entire public safety campus, which covers both the fire station, the current building, and will cover the annex building, the new building going in. So, and then go from there.
And I understood that we were going to be able to see the dispatch office or building. Aren't they right over here?
They are in the building. We did have an open house, but you can get a hold of me anytime, and I can set up a tour for you and take you on a tour to see them in operation. Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Probably best if we do it one or two at a time, just because they are operational, so we don't want to bring a whole group in there.
Right.
And I'm sure there's some rules about the council meeting offsite or something like that, but happy to do that. You can just get with me or get with Dan. He can coordinate with me, and we can set that up.
Okay, I would love to do that. Thank you. Great job as usual.
Commissioner Mitchell? Commissioner Mitchell, too. Mitchell.
I told you get tired of that. So we're fully invested in the NIBRS reporting system. How's that going for you?
I'm sorry,
The NIBRS reporting?
it's a challenge. Yes, we are doing it. We're doing the NIBRS. That's why even our crime sheet, you see a little bit different. This isn't the report that actually we get. This is the one we developed, so it's a little more user-friendly for you to look at and kind of see some numbers.
Yes.
But the NIBRS, and the challenge is just, it's new for the officers, so going through and figuring out what they have to record or where it goes and stuff is a challenge. But we're fully into it, and what happens is when our information goes in, then DOJ will get back to us if there's any errors. They say, hey, you got a problem with this report, something's missing here, and then we get that corrected. But yeah, it's just a process that we're going through, but everybody is in the same boat as us, so, but it's working.
Right. It's, change is never easy, especially for us humans. I know that we were going to take a second look at the staffing proposal. We were going to look at the future, and I don't know, I can't remember, I think I was absent that meeting.
November, I think.
Was it the
when we kind
November?
of stopped, yeah, because of
Yeah.
December, so we definitely want to relook at that. Well,
Right. We wanted to look at that. I don't think we didn't move on that, did we?
no, we didn't. Dan, do you know if we need to reinsert that onto agenda? Because it really kind of stopped because of, the holidays and everything.
Yeah, definitely. We could have it, put it on the agenda.
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is we're in March right now.
sir.
I will not be here next month, and I would prefer to do that, give you that report. So I'll probably have Commander Cheng here next month. So if we can set it for May, if that works for you, then
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy to
think
do that
that's fine.
presentation for you.
That's fine.
That'll be fine. So
Okay,
do we need
that concludes my questioning.
Do we
Okay.
need
Thank you,
to-
Chief.
We need agenda, is that?
Do we need to make a
I'd like to make a motion to get that on the agenda for May.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We could just do a roll call vote. Commissioner Martin Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenneth Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chair Lozano?
Yes.
Chair Muse?
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
All right. My turn. Well, Deputy Shaw, I want to say I think our police department is definitely moving in the right direction. Myself, being part of the program, volunteering there, I mean, I see the needs, and and that's why I'm up here to find out what's it going to take, what's the number going to take, the right number of officers for the police department, which we need, instead of running a 2-1, maybe a 4-1, and being able to run different teams, which I know I've had different people come up to me, city council people come up to me, and what's it going to take? Like, my ideas was it'd be great to have a set of 4 or 5 guys that are just dedicated to helping the hot areas, whatever, if it's traffic, on this one, or gang, or, just, specialty teams. And I know without the manpower, there's just no way to do that. And we can't just go, well, we're just going to call in RSO, because that costs us way too much money. So, but I believe our police department is definitely moving forward. And my question is there anything maybe like, for instance, thefts, always be out there, but I'm always hearing it, more car thefts and more, are thefts seeming, we're already in March and I'm hearing more going up. Something the public can do, is there, I mean, we only have so many people.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said that. I attended 2 different community groups meetings this week. I attended the Friends of the Library, and then I went to a Realtors group meeting, and I talked to them actually about the same thing, about personal safety and what's going on in the city. And one of the things that come up and they ask is, hey, what's some of the problems that we see the most of in the city? And thefts have gone up, and when we look at last year's stats, there was a big increase in the shoplifting, the catalytic converters, those type of thefts, burglaries and stuff. So I tell folks a lot of it with personal safety and safeguarding your stuff is the same thing, and we've talked about it before, but it's make yourself as hard a target as possible so that they move on to someone else that's an easier target. So it's those things. Lock your car doors, roll up your windows, don't leave your keys in the car. Don't leave valuables in plain view in your window. At your house, even as we enter to the summer months, close the windows and doors at night. Don't leave them open for that fresh air. Good sensor lights to go on in the evening and stuff are good. So if someone comes in, the sensor light picks them up and lights go on. Home security systems, they have a lot of things depending on your budget, very inexpensive up to very expensive stuff, but you can go down, at Costco or Big Five and buy something very simple that's no wires, battery operated, put a camera up in your home. They don't necessarily prevent someone from coming to your house, but they help, and they help us if something does happen, unfortunately, that we're able to get some video, and that certainly helps us in investigating those cases. So.
Do you happen to see, like, people who have, I'd say a good 70% have the Ring app, and there's the neighborhoods. Does that help the police in any way?
Absolutely, and any time we're investigating any type of crime, one of the first things we do is canvass the area and ask folks for their personal security devices. And 99.9% of the time, folks are happy to help us. They give us access to those videos, and they're a huge benefit in helping us solve some of these crimes.
And I've got a couple more questions, public. So the second thing is, regardless to, we're seeing, I don't know if it's between code and police. I mean, when somebody goes and say, they go to the Vons and they're gonna, I'm gonna set up camp here. I know we've had some problems behind Vons, and is there anything being done? I know there's a bunch of red tape, but what is being done about the homeless between a lot of commercial buildings and stuff like that? And could that also be contributed to some of these, petty thefts as well?
Yeah, it's so obviously homeless in any city is an issue. We've seen an increase in our city with that. Recently, the point and count was done, and we were right around 100 that were counted in that time of homeless individuals within the city. So a couple things with that. One is the laws are pretty strict as far as what we can do. A lot of the enforcement stuff in terms of setting up encampments and making folks move falls back to is we can only enforce it if we have a bed that we can offer those people, those folks. And that's something that we don't have. So it's not just the police department. There's been a lot of discussion about it. There's been several community meetings in the city here that the city has put out to come up with a plan to help with the homeless population. Obviously, a big part of it is the housing, and then the mental health and substance abuse help that comes with it. So for the police department, we do have, it's a collateral duty for our homeless team officers. We do have officers that do that. They go out there daily and contact the homeless, try and get them resources, but it is a collateral duty. It's not a full-time duty. For the private property areas like the shopping centers, they have no trespass letters on file with the police department, the majority of them, so that we can go in and do enforcement, whether it's an arrest for trespassing or getting them to move along. But a lot of that also is on those folks that own those properties, that they have to take that initial step.
So it is,
to help us with that.
Vons doesn't own the property, but obviously somebody does, right? So my camper breaks down there and I'm going to stay there for 2 weeks and run it. I mean, there's nothing the city can do because it's private property. It has to be up to the store manager or the actual property, because, I mean, people want to go and shop in, in nice areas, and, it's awful. I mean, we see.
Yeah, for things like towing vehicles for something like that, it's private property, so the owners have to tow those out of there.
Yeah. All right.
But we did, I know Code, I think it was just this week, behind Pizza Hut, behind Pizza Hut in that open area there was a lot of encampment that was going on there. So I know Code cleared that out this week, and Christina can go more in the process with that. But I think that was Monday that they went out there.
Yeah,
clear
so
that out.
code enforcement doesn't directly deal with homelessness, just the issues that they cause. So trash, blight, junk,
Yes,
safety issues, sewage issues. The majority of these properties are vacant, and our zoning code does provide that nothing can be on a vacant property void of a structure. So we attack it in a way that ensures that there's no makeshift structures, ensures that the property owner is maintaining the property free of blight, free of trash, no safety concerns like fires and things of that nature. So we do something. We open a code enforcement case. We put the onus on the property owner to ensure that the property is vacant and that it's free of any sort of occupants. We ensure that there's no illegal structures either being erected above ground or below ground, because that's a thing now too. And so it's a challenge because the majority of these vacant property owners, it's no fault of their own that this is happening on their property. And these areas where you see these encampments, I mean, they are habitual. And these private property owners are spending thousands and thousands of dollars every year to keep their properties clean. So they partner with us, they partner with law enforcement to ensure that there's no trespassing orders and there's signage, and that they have contractors come out. But a lot of them, they're owned by trusts, and we got to go through the attorneys, and we got to play the game. So it is, and we also, there's another component to this, which is the human component, and we want to make sure that they're all getting resources additionally. So that, in itself is a challenge, and it requires partnership and,
Seems like there should be a
agencies.
task force, whether it's community or something,
So
involved to
that's-
help these people, and that's what it's going to take.
That's actually what
It's
the
not a crime to
city-
be homeless.
That's what the city is actually,
Yeah.
one of their proposals entails. So at those community meetings, the city has hired a contractor to develop some sort of program, and part of the discussion was for the residents and property owners to vote on potentially having an internal staff team that would be comprised of law enforcement, code enforcement, mental health specialists, so that they can actually get out there every day and do that work.
Yeah, and the only reason why I bring that up home is because I've had a brother, he's finally cleaning up the streets, but he was not on our street, but another street, and it just, is pretty much more the mental and psychological, and he just didn't have the right help, but it took years, and so, I mean, I really feel for that. Well, thank you, Chief, and I have one last question, regarding incidents and collisions and stuff like that. I mean, we just had one I seen in the paper, 62 again. I mean, I guess nobody's gonna, have you heard anything on 62 in Pearson? I mean, that just seems like it's just not ending.
Yeah, I know, the council meeting on Tuesday, actually, Danny Porras gave an update on that. It's county, Caltrans, area. And so, but we are in partnership with the county and with state in doing some safety measures that are out there. It is a slow process, unfortunately, especially when you're working with the state and two other entities, the state and the county. But we are moving forward in those discussions and looking at ways, whether it be a signalized intersection is what they're looking at for there.
Yeah.
So those plans are in progress.
So is that something a city councilman could approach the state legislation and say, hey, we've had this many, fatalities, and our hands are tied unless you guys.
I'm sure you folks, as the public safety and the city council, certainly have the influence and can talk to state
Well, that's why I
officials
brought it
and
up.
maybe help move them along, so absolutely.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
I'm good.
All right. Well, we can go into our commissioners' reports.
Thank you. Councilmember Gardner met with the Public Safety Committee of Agua Dulce about 2 weeks ago. I was not able to attend because I had a prior engagement. And some of their concerns, or some of the concerns that were raised here tonight, I think they're being resolved, have been resolved, or in the process of being resolved. One was the homeless campment behind Agua Dulce. And I think that's been resolved. The other was on the weekend, semis were parking along Two Bunch and and Cactus. They're no longer parking there, but this weekend I noticed that they've moved up more towards Little Morongo. So they're still there, it's just that they're not around Agua Dulce anymore. They are concerned about the traffic, which I've heard this from other residents, along Palm Drive, traffic safety along Palm Drive. And they did ask about motorcycle officers and what, where are they? Because they believe that we do have them.
Yeah, so we have 2 motor units, or 2 motorcycles available for motor officers. We did do interviews, take applications and do interviews internally, and we did select 2 candidates to become motor officers. So now what we're in the process of is those 2 motor units that we have are still in really good shape, pretty fair new units. These officers need to go to a motorcycle academy and pass that academy before we put them out on the street. So we're actually in the process right now of looking to buy either more new motorcycles or used motorcycles that they can use in the academy. What we don't want to do is send them to the motorcycle academy with a brand new motorcycle because they're going to drop it, they're going to crash it, and cause a lot of damage in the academy with that. So we'd rather they beat up an old bike. But we are in the process of doing that and finding those bikes. There's a number, we've looked at there's a number of motorcycle academies throughout the state that we can send them to. Most of them are anywhere between 2 and 3 weeks that they go to, and then they'll come back here and they'll do some field training. But we are in the process of getting them out there. We want to get those motors out on the street. Those 2 officers are currently working traffic, and we have a brand new traffic car. I say new, but I think we've had it for 6-8 months now. And so they're utilizing that. So they are out there doing traffic enforcement. They're just not on the motorcycle just yet.
Okay, thank you. And there are 2 programs that I would like to recommend. One is emergency preparedness. For us, it's not if a major earthquake will happen, it's when. And if you look across California and across the country, it appears no one is prepared for an emergency. And we know that in any emergency, the police and fire are going to be overwhelmed. So basically, neighbors are going to have to take care of neighbors. And so I would like to propose something like an emergency preparedness seminar or workshops that we can put together, just so our citizens will be prepared. I mean, we're right along the San Andreas Fault. So if there's a major earthquake, a lot's going to happen to our city. And the other one is something that was big in Oakland where I used to live. And we can't do it actually when it happens because it's the second Tuesday in August, which is too hot here. But and it happens across the country, actually, National Night Out.
We used to do National Night Out all the time. We like a lot, especially being part of the Citizens on Patrol. We used to head that up quite a bit. And I mean, it's great. And actually in Cathedral City, they moved it towards October because August was too hot. So that would be something we'll definitely look at.
Yeah, I think we should look at it because that way, National Night Out, it's basically where neighbors get together on one night and they have block parties, neighborhoods get together and prepare, just have barbecues.
And you get
so
police and you get fire
to come out to see.
We used to do it here in the city all the time.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah, and so I think it's a great program.
Needs to be
And,
back.
where I lived, what came out of that was emergency preparedness. Just in case of an earthquake, and also lived in a fire zone. So we really had to be prepared. So I would like to see us work on those 2 programs.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Don?
All right, well, my report is brief. I did it was a Zoom meeting. It was an online meeting. I attended the CVAG, Coachella Valley Association of Governments Regional Public Safety meeting. It was my first introduction to that body. I've always extolled the regionalization, interagency cooperation for service delivery for emergency services. In this particular meeting, nothing was directly pertinent to the city of Desert Hot Springs. It's a quarterly meeting. They will be bringing issues up later on. I believe their next one is scheduled for the 9th of May. It is likely that meeting will be held in person. It's open to the public, and it's held at the Palm Desert Civic Center campus, which is located there. I believe it's off of Fred Waring, adjacent to the College of the Desert. So I'm going to volunteer myself to go, but anyone up here can go, any other member of the public can go, and to find out what's going on throughout the Coachella Valley on that subject. Still working on the Fire Ops 101 project, something I'd personally like to see happen. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, it's basically the fire service comes out, and then city council people, if they want, and public safety commissioners, if they want, they sign a waiver. They get in turnouts, they put helmets on, and they go into the training structure, and they put out fires, and they bring out victims, and they see you go through an auto extrication, you go through a hazmat response. It got rave reviews when we did up north. It's something, if I can't get it, I'm going to try and get it done this year, depending on my point of contact. But certainly before my tenure's up, I'd like to see that happen. And the last thing is, we just talked about the accident on 62, which I was made aware of by watching the news. It's been a point of contention of mine that we should be notified of these things. I'm going to, the first person I probably will talk to about that would be a member of our staff, to see if there are any legal obstacles that need to be overcome as far as that's concerned. Because there may be a reason why city council people and members of the media are they're privy to information that we may not be. And I want to make sure that we're not crossing any improper lines or stepping on anybody's toes. But that's something else that's in the works, and I hope to have more of an answer on that as the investigation progresses. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Well, I'm good. I covered most of what I wanted to talk about, but I'm with you on the being notified. Didn't we bring this up a long time ago?
It was brought up some time ago, and it stalled for some
Yeah.
reason. There was
Yeah.
we were supposed to go back and provide. I think it was a member of city staff that asked for more information, and for some reason the communication just it never got connected. It never connected up.
I can give you some quick information on that. I know we did have the discussion, and from the PD, and I don't want to speak for the fire, but I'm gonna. We're not making those notifications to you, but I know that the intern city manager, Doria, I've talked to her, and she's relayed to us, and you can connect with her. But I know that they didn't have a problem with putting you on that email thread, the same as city council, to get that information, those press releases that they get, so you guys can get that information. So that may be something to follow up with her on.
Perfect. I'll contact her. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm done.
You guys are amazing, all of you. So with that being said, on the same note, volunteering with the police department, I mean, that door is always open for either three of you guys, no problem. We do get notified to a certain extent, but everything's confidentially, so that would definitely have to go above my pay grades. So, I mean, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not in, to let you guys know, I'm not able to do that. So I don't need to be notified, because I will be notified. So, but I think the DC and DC, I figured the city might be able to come up with something, just details so you guys are aware. I mean, it's good to be aware. I mean, we are an advisory board and a public safety commission. So that said, I think that's something, I think they'll work on for us. And you brought up a great point, Commissioner Martin. something would have to be, I would like to see happen again is community policing program again. We used to have that, before I became a Citizens on Patrol, almost, well, we're going on 13 years. In order to be a Citizens on Patrol, we went through a basic training on how the police department, kind of like your fire and ops out. Every piece of the department, from the DA to your crime scene, to what a commander does, what the DC does, and your sergeants. You know, it was like more of a 6 to 8 week class on like Monday nights, and that was great. And that's how I became a Citizen on Patrol. I would like to see community policing. And what came with community policing was also part of that national night. It was just almost an automatic. It really was. And I think if the city and community got together, that, you know, depending on police resources and stuff, I think that would be a great implement. I mean, I'd like to see it brought back, have all the literatures, and I mean, it talks about, you know, anything from crime prevention to policing. And I mean, it really and it gets a one-on-one, you know, the officers are there to, you know, like I said, from, you know, our chiefs to our crime scene to answer those questions that the public, and it really had a huge turnout. I mean, it's been about 8 or 9 years since we've done it. I mean, and I mean, I would like the city to see that way, but community policing, DC?
Yeah, so, you know, whether you have one officer or 100 officers, you can do community policing. It's really the style that you do it. It's been around for years and years. When I started in the 80s, they coined the term problem-oriented policing, POP, and then that morphed into community policing. But it's the whole concept of basically just getting officers out of the car, working with the community, knowing that, you know, the police can't solve everything. We can fix things, but the ultimate goal is to solve them and not have repeat fixes. The broken window effect, if you think about it, instead of, you know, putting a piece of tape and cardboard over the window, it's actually replacing that entire window and solving those problems. But it's doing it with the community. So part of that component is the officers getting out of the car, making those connections and those relationships with community members and business owners, so that folks know who their police officers are. So again, whether it's one officer or 100 officer, we can do that. But it gets us out there working in partnership together. And absolutely, we do it. We don't talk about it a lot, and a lot of times we don't use, you know, community policing, the term and stuff, but we do it. For us here, the COVID really kind of slowed it down because officers couldn't get out of the car, and we lost some of those connections. But it's something that we constantly talk about with our officers that we want them to do. And get out and make those connections and those relationships. So absolutely, and the National Night Out is a great opportunity to do it. Going to community meetings and just functions in the community, stuff on the weekends, you know, stuff at the ballpark and stuff that's going on. It's getting folks to realize that the police officers, they're human, they're members of the community, and we're out here to serve you. That's why we're here, but we just need to do it together.
What about what would it take, W. Shad, to try to implement some kind of, the police department to implement like a police academy thing again, what we used to do?
I'd be happy to sit down and talk. I know the city recently did the Civics Academy, so it's something very similar to that.
Yes.
And I can't remember how many months or how many weeks that was. I don't know
Yeah, something like that, but just along
But
police.
very similar, where they looked at all components of the city government. The police department was just one class in that. So that is something, and I believe the city is still moving forward with that. So that's a great opportunity, and I'll check and get that information for you, that folks can start and get involved and get some education on how the city works, how city government works, but not only the police department, but code, city hall here, and everything like that. So it was a really good program.
I think it would bring a lot of volunteers out, whether it be animal control, you know, code, whatever. I think it would bring that whole, you know, community, you know, it would have a lot of questions unanswered for people. They would be answered. I mean, I think it would really open the doors for the, you know, the whole city to do that again. That's all I have.
I like that.
Also, one of the things that the Public Safety Committee from Agua Dulce wanted to know is how do they start a neighborhood watch? because they would like to start one. So if I can get that information to pass on to them.
I would talk to your,
Right here? Okay.
so right there, yeah.
Feel free to give me a call and I can go out and I can help you guys get started with that.
Okay. And also, I will not be here next month.
You have my number.
Just had one more remark on Commissioner Mitchell's interest in emergency preparedness. I know there was a point where we were trying to get in touch with someone that was involved with a CERT program, the Community Emergency Response Teams. I thought it was listed at one point, it was Chief Henson. I don't know if he's still in charge of that. But I know that it's a trained cadre of, I'm sure you've heard of it, it's a trained cadre of citizens that would assist and take care of the more rudimentary tasks, and they're necessary, but they're less of an emergency nature if there was a large-scale emergency, so our police department and fire department can be freed up to take care of the more exigent circumstances that follow a large-scale event such as an earthquake, wildfire, and now we have to include enemy attack in that possibility, in that realm of possibility these days, unfortunately. So we can go ahead and proceed and see if we can't get a hold of somebody that runs that type of thing. They actually the course to become a certain member is not that far departed from a citizens police academy or a citizens fire academy. It's a more of a hands-on course to enable people to do what they need to do, and they receive certifications. So maybe that's something we can, something in the future that we can explore together and maybe bring to the local jurisdiction or resurrect it if it's gone away.
We're going to adjourn this meeting, if that's all we have. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank all of you.